'cause I know I'm gonna see you soon.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's your WrestleMania Night 1 post-show tonight. What was the match of the night? What do you rank WrestleMania on 10? Cody Rhodes returns to the WWE. Charlotte Flair upsets Ronda Rousey. And Stone Cold Steve Austin rides again. Stone Cold Steve Austin, son. And that's the bottom line.
Hey.
Oh, wait a second. Johnny North.
Big man.
Johnny. There we go. How are you?
Good. Like, it feels like it's been a very long day, but at least it ended very well tonight.
Hell yeah.
WrestleMania. It got better as it went on, and ended on the high note. Can't ask for anything more than that. Fantastic show.
Stone Cold agrees, Johnny North. Stone Cold Steve Austin had a hell of a night. It was fun to see Stone Cold. Really good to see Stone Cold. I like night 1. Let's get it started. Let's kick it off. On 10, what are you giving this thing? Let me know in the chat. A lot of people in the chat tonight. It's WrestleMania. It's a big night, one of the biggest nights of the year. Let's go. Anthony Plesia in the chat, member of the team. Doug Hepburn in the chat, member of the team. Thank you guys for being members. Don't forget to join the channel. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support this channel. We are here after every wrestling show, not just WrestleMania, brother. We're here after Raw. We're here after Smackdown. We're even here after AEW Dynamite, where we used to see our man Cody Rhodes perform, and now he's in the WWE. Big Cody, as we expected, makes his return to World Wrestling Entertainment. Cody Rhodes is all entertainment. He's back. Nice to see Cody back tonight. Harold Schneider dropping a super chat. $10 super chat from Harold. Thank you, Harold. He says, I was incorrect. Disappointed that Cody went back to WWE. Huh. I think a lot of people were happy that Cody went back to WWE. We'll talk about Cody Rhodes. We'll talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin. We'll talk about Bianca Belair's win over Becky Lynch. We will recap each and every match that happened here tonight at WrestleMania Night 1. Silent by Deadly giving this show a 7. Doug Hepburn says 5.5 on 10. Miz was my surprise. Cody Rollins' best match. Good to finish with Austin. Doug had fun. 5.5 on 10 is a little bit low. Lower than I would give. Silent by Deadly giving it a 7. AJ DeLesio, my main man, giving it a 9 on 10. Thought it was a great show. Ahmad Kadri giving it a 7.5. Welcome, Ahmad. Haven't seen Ahmad in the chat before. Thank you for joining us tonight. 7.5. Pretty solid. I am going to give this one a pretty high grade. I enjoyed this show. I thought the first hour and a half dragged, but once we got through the first hour and a half, as Jim Ross would say, business picked up. As soon as Bianca Belair got into the ring to face off with Becky Lynch, business picked up. It was Bianca over Becky. It was Cody over Seth. It was Charlotte over Ronda. And then it was Stone Cold over Kevin Owens in our main event tonight. First 3 matches kind of dragged, especially the first 2. I was impressed by Logan Paul tonight. I thought he had a great performance, but the match itself wasn't my favorite. So I thought that the first hour, hour and a half of WrestleMania from 8 till about 9:30, 9:40, not great. But after that, my goodness, what a card. Great matches. Hard to pick a match of the night. I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 on 10.
Half.
And a half. The half is for that Stone Cold Steve Austin bump on the floor. The fact that that man took a bump on the floor, a suplex, get an extra half point just off the strength of that. Just off the strength of that match, I'm giving it an 8.5. I thought it was one of the better WWE pay-per-views that I've seen in a very long time. Very long. So I was quite happy with the show tonight. I mean, look at us. It's midnight. It was a 4-hour show, and it didn't feel like it dragged. I'm awake. I feel fine. I'm not pissed off. I wasn't bored throughout most of the show like I am for a lot of WWE shows. We'll see what happens tomorrow night when Roman Reigns closes the show, but Stone Cold Steve Austin closing the show is pretty damn fun. So I'm going to give it a high mark, really high mark. If you know me, if you watch these shows like Matthew Henley does, Matthew giving it a 9 on 10. You guys know that I'm kind of hard on the WWE, but tonight they delivered. This was WrestleMania. This wasn't a 10. This wasn't a 9 as far, I wouldn't give it a 9 or a 9.5. The only 10 that I've given to a pay-per-view was that AEW pay-per-view when Bryan Danielson was there and when Adam Cole came out and then Bryan Danielson.
All Out.
Yeah, All Out. I
Last
was in Nova Scotia for that in the summertime. That was a 10. To me, that was a perfect pay-per-view. This was not perfect, but goddamn, it was pretty good. So I'm giving this an 8.5 on 10. I'm seeing a lot of 8s, a lot of 9s. Brother, it's up to you.
I have kind of the same reasoning that you do, especially the extra little point for Stone Cold taking that bump.
That's right.
And I'm also happy with a lot of the finishes for the match. Like a lot of people, the competitors who won, I was like, I was like pleasantly surprised. Like when Charlotte Flair won, or even the Miz and Logan Paul winning, and Logan Paul's good performance. It was like, oh, okay, I'm good with that. I wasn't like outraged by that or felt that's bullshit.
No, it was cool. It was fine.
Really dragged in the beginning. Some of the big matches, I felt there were a lot of good spots, but also felt a little unfocused.
Like which?
Becky and Bianca kind of felt a little unfocused. Like there's some big moments, but some of the in-between,
I think it lacked intensity.
Dragged a bit. So I'm just going to
agree.
go a shade under you and say it's an 8.
Okay. That's a pretty solid grade, though, giving it a pretty high marks. Johnny North, I saw on Twitter, at North Genesis, by the way, if you want to follow Johnny on Twitter. You said that this was probably the best WWE Premium Live event. He's going with the verbiage, He's going with the
real
the
corporate
terminology,
speak.
He's not
That's
calling
right.
it a pay-per-view, brother. He's going into the new generation. He thinks it was the, what did you say, best Premium Live event that we'll see all year?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say because, like, if you think about it, can they match anything this special having Austin come back? I highly doubt we'll see anything this special ever again from WWE unless The Rock's coming back, but I don't think The Rock's coming back this year at least.
You saw my eyebrow.
So, right, but I don't think The Rock's coming back. Even so, I'm going to just say that too. Like, even with The Rock coming back, I mean, we've seen that before. Austin, it's been a while. Like, 19 years since his last match. So this was really special. And you also had some really good matches besides that. So this is going to be, I don't know, next to impossible, I think, for WWE really to beat. So for me, this is easily the best pay-per-view I think we're going to see this year. I think that's fair to say. And I easily give this one a 9 because I don't think anything's going to be able to top this.
Wow. Top marks from the Ringside Report crew tonight. 8 from my brother. 8.5 from me. And Big Johnny giving it a 9 on 10. Yeah, I thought it was a great show. Great show. Alex Tarras giving it an 11 on 10.
Oh.
He's got the Dave Meltzer scale there. Forget 5 stars. We're giving you 6, brother. Okay. Alex loved it. He thinks Cody was great and he should have been the main event. I don't know if Cody should have been the main event. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin main eventing is really the only way to close a show. I don't think you can really follow Stone Cold.
Right.
Hard to do. Especially when the ring is just drenched in beer. It's going to be hard to do. 7 beers in the match. 7 beers Austin consumed during that match with Kevin Owens, which was kind of funny. Ryan Katz giving a pay-per-view 7.5 on 10. So different marks, I mean, Doug giving it kind of lower marks. Ryan Katz giving it a 7.5. A lot of people loving it. Matt Henley giving it a 9. AJ giving it a 9. DJ Bourne giving it an 8. A lot of 8s, a lot of 9s. Ahmad Kadri giving it a 7.5. So it's, in the range, but pretty high marks. Pretty high marks. And if you want to call in to give us your thoughts on the show, you have to be a member of the team. You have to join.ringsidereport.net. Join or click that join button beneath me. If you are a member, your name will appear in green in the chat, like Doug Hepburn, like Anthony Plessia, like Harold Schneider. You guys can call in, give us your thoughts. But that is a special perk for members only. So you have to be a member of the team. Just $5 a month. You support the Ringside Report Network, and then you could come on and talk to us and be part of the show tonight or tomorrow night or any night that you want to call in and talk to me. If you want to talk to me and Johnny,
or me,
and you, even this guy, you can talk to my brother over
talk
here.
To me,
unbelievable.
you talking to me. I'm not the only one here.
I'm the only one here. Patrick C. Hamilton giving it a classic 7.7 with the 777 Patrick C. Hamilton super chat. That is his signature super chat drop. And I like that 7.7, Patrick. Very good. Good stuff. All right, let's start with the main event, and we'll work our way. Back. Okay.
All right.
Let's start with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens, because I think that was one of the most exciting things on the card. I'm not sure if it was match of the night, but it was damn fun while it lasted. The promo starts. Kevin Owens has the KO show set up in the ring. Cut the whole promo. Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, interrupts him. Because KO's like, oh, I know you want Austin, but he's going to come out on my time. And Austin goes out to the crowd, salutes the crowd, then goes backstage, gets on an ATV, comes out, Sheriff Austin, does a couple circles around the ring, gets in the ring, does his pose. Owens says, cut the music. KO wants Austin to take a seat, and Austin did. Were you surprised by that? When Owens is like, sit down, and Austin's like, okay. I was a little surprised. I was like, I didn't think that he would actually listen to him, but he did. And he's like, oh, let's just have a conversation. And Stone Cold's like, you've been talking all this trash, and you want to talk now? Your stupid haircut, your beady eyes, you stupid son of a bitch. I like what he said, oh, you got a stupid haircut. And Owens is like, my haircut? What's wrong with my haircut? I thought that was good. And then Owens talks about Texas and says, Texas isn't so great. The land is flat and uninspiring, unlike Canada. I like that Owens was also talking up Canada as a Canadian, as a Quebecer. I was pretty happy to see that. Owens says, if he grew up in Texas, he would have moved to Mexico. It's right there. And he says, I'm a sophisticated, distinguished French Canadian, not like these Texans over here, which I popped for as well. Sophisticated, distinguished French Canadian. Put that on a t-shirt. And Owen says he's here to challenge Austin to a match. Austin says he had his first match in Dallas, and he may have his last match in Dallas. And if you want Stone Cold Steve Austin to kick this sack of shit tonight, give me a hell yeah. Said shit. Not used to Austin swearing. And then Austin wants a ref, and a ref comes out, and we have a match. I was surprised. I thought that this would be an interview segment and Austin would beat up Kevin Owens, but there wouldn't be a ref. There wouldn't be a bell. There wouldn't be a 3 count. I did not expect the match, which really was kind of the cherry on top, right? I mean, Austin and Owens, yeah, it's cool. And we were expecting, the Kevin Owens show and a stunner and some beers, but we saw a match. It wasn't a typical wrestling match, but for the amount of time Austin's been gone and the injuries that he's had, this was pretty amazing. Right?
Yeah.
I was not expecting this to be a wrestling match.
Yeah.
When the ref came out and they stood in corners and, the bell rang, I was like, damn, we're actually doing this. I don't think many of us expected to have a wrestling match tonight, right,
Yeah.
John? Like, weren't you surprised by that?
Well, just the limitations of what Austin could do. I thought this was actually going to turn into more of like a cinematic match. They start brawling and brawls to the back, and then most of it would just be in the back because Austin's limitations, but he was good to go for this. And I think, honestly, it really needed it because people kept saying, "Oh, this is the main event," but unless it was a match, it really didn't feel like the main event. And I think that people would have always looked back on it saying like, it wasn't really the main event. It just ended WrestleMania. But now it was actually a match. Now you can actually say it.
Yeah, Kevin Owens main event in Mania, legit
against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The only other people who have done that are like Shawn Michaels and The Rock.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was very happy for Kevin Owens to get that. I mean, Johnny North, you started your pro wrestling training under Jacques Rougeau with Kevin Steen. So for you, right? So you know this guy. You came up with this guy. I mean, this is what, 20 years ago when you were starting? Close to that?
Yeah, about that. Close to that, yeah.
So for you, I mean, for me, it's different. I don't know the man. I never touched him in a ring, you know? I never took his moves. For you to see him, a guy from here, a guy that you trained with 20 years ago, now at the top of the sport, main eventing WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, that's got to make you pretty proud. I'm proud of him. I can't imagine how it feels like for you and for all the guys that we know that have, you know, been around with Kevin Owens, a lot of the local guys here who've wrestled with Kevin Owens, who kind of came up with Kevin Owens, and now seeing him in the main event of WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's pretty cool, right, John? I mean, how did you feel seeing that?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic for him. It's what he deserves, I find. I feel like they haven't given Kevin enough, honestly, in WWE. The Universal title win was great, but it kind of just felt like it's been a distant memory. And he's been nowhere close to that. Like, finally, to give him a main event WrestleMania, I feel like it's been too long for him to actually be considered a main eventer. Like, the Universal title reign, it was years ago now. So I feel like he's been just mid-card. So for him to get this is gigantic. This kind of almost solidifies his WWE career. I mean, hopefully he'll be WWE champion again, but if not, he'll always have this at least.
That's it. He'll always have this and the millions of dollars that the WWE's paying him. You know, a few months ago, we thought Kevin Owens was leaving the WWE and was maybe headed to AEW. There was talk that his contract was running out. He signs a new deal, and then main events WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Good move.
Clearly made the right choice.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. A lot of people say, what the hell? Why would he stay in WWE? Including myself. I was like, why stay in WWE unless it's just for the money? You know, because creatively, how great is it going to be? Well, turns out creatively it's pretty damn good. Yeah. Pretty damn good for Kevin Owens. You can't get that in AEW. You ain't getting a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin in front of 70,000 people in AEW.
It's the best possible spot a guy in his position could ask for, you know, like real or like imaginary. If you said, like, if you could do anything, you know, and like a guy like Kevin Owens, who's not a Roman Reigns or a Seth Rollins or a Randy Orton, you know, it's like, if you do anything, well, I'd love to wrestle Stone Cold at Mania.
Yeah. Have Stone Cold's retirement match in Texas.
Yeah.
In the main event of WrestleMania.
And the fact that they gave it to him and not like a Randy Orton, you know, and be like, let's make this Viper versus Rattlesnake.
Yeah, they gave it to Kevin because I think Austin likes Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I think he likes him.
And there's like, they didn't really talk about it, but there's like that history of like a young Kevin Steen approaching Steve Austin in the airport. Austin giving him advice to like always run his mouth when he's in the ring. You know, there's like a real like, you know, personal thing. That's
it. There's an alliance there. There's a connection between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens. Owens has always stated that you know, Austin told him in an airport, you know, keep running your mouth, and that was a big change in his career. And Owens has a lot of the same traits as Stone Cold Steve Austin, and of course he's got the stunner. So it just made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. It worked out perfectly, and I'm happy that the WWE went that way. Shout out Silent by Deadly dropping a super chat. Thank you.
And I gotta say, as a guy, like my first WrestleMania that I watched and was into was WrestleMania 14, headlined by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, and that was a big part of me getting into pro wrestling. And I have to say, at the end of the night, when the camera kind of got that wide shot and Austin's there, and it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin closing out a WrestleMania with the beer bash.
Yeah.
And like all it needed is if JR was on commentary.
Yes.
And if he went, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are right now.
Yeah.
Like that he always does. You've got to appreciate this moment, you know, like, but like I got a bit of the feels, you know?
Yeah, it did feel nice.
I felt it, hearing the music, And then a wide shot, and just the crowd was so appreciative.
Yeah.
They were on fire for Austin.
It was nice.
It was good. I'm feeling it now, but like it's like
Don't cry. Don't
cry. I'm
cry.
not gonna cry, but just like it just makes me think of just all the time.
Yeah. He was a big part
good.
of your childhood, I think. For me, I was a little bit older. So for me, it's Hogan.
Yeah.
You're about 5 years younger than me, so but for you, it's Austin.
Yeah, it's like Bret Austin.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I can see that. I got, I felt something, but I don't think I felt it like you do because I think
I was a bit younger.
You're a bit younger. It's just the age difference slightly there. But, I mean, I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I grew up on Stone Cold, but I think Austin is your Hogan.
Yeah, kind of.
And Hogan is my Hogan, you know?
But yeah, it was great to see, and I don't see how they can top it.
No, I don't know how you top it tomorrow night. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the match starts. He throws the punches with Kevin Owens, right, that do the punch exchange. It felt like Rockin' Austin, you know what I mean? Fantastic stuff. Yeah. Punches him into the corner, stomps the mud hole, very slow mud hole, and that was something that was noticeable with Austin. He's wearing those knee braces because he needs them. He wasn't moving around that well. He wasn't walking with the swagger that you're used to seeing when Austin's wrestling, right? Like those mud holes were a little labored. He looked good, but you could tell, like he's 57 years old. He hasn't wrestled in 19 years, and he's a little beat up, right? I mean, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not taking anything away from what Austin did tonight. I'm just saying as a guy who watched Austin in the 90s and sees him today, it's like, wow, those mud holes. Like, when he starts stomping a mud hole, it's like, oh, how's this going to go? Mm-hmm. Like, it seemed like, uh-oh, this might not work because Austin's not moving that well, but it picked up. Owens took a huge bump into the corner. Austin whipped him. Owens went, like, over top and then dropped down on his back and neck. Austin went for a beer, stomped another mud hole, tossed Owens over the top rope to the floor. Owens took a big bump on the floor. Austin goes for another beer. That's beer number 2. Austin got whipped into the barricade. Didn't really bump into the barricade. Fired out with a clothesline. Owens just bumping his ass off. Do you see the bump on that clothesline? He went spinning on that clothesline. Just great stuff. Austin punched Owens around ringside. Eventually, Owens got some offense, tossed Austin into the ring post. Austin bumped pretty good, took a good shot into the ring post. Owens set up a table next to the barricade, but you know what's going to happen. Owens gets tossed through the table. Austin comes back. Notice Kevin Owens' parents were right there as he was getting tossed through the table. They were sitting front row. I don't know if you caught that, but
I caught it.
I saw the Steens there watching their son. And I was thinking about it, like, you must have tremendous pride as a parent watching your kid do something like that, but also fear, tremendous fear. I mean, you see what could happen. You see what happens to Big E. I don't know. As a parent now, I look at the parents of wrestlers differently. I'm like, oh, it must be nerve-wracking to watch your kid do that. I'd be scared. Anyhow, nice to see his parents there. I'm sure they're quite happy. Everything turned out fine. They fight through the crowd, and that's when things got a little bit crazy. Owens suplex Austin on the floor, and to me, this was the move of the match and maybe the move of the night. We winced when Austin took that bump on the floor. I could not believe Austin took a suplex bump, boom, right on the floor. And he fought out of it. Came back, tossed Owens over onto the commentary table. Table didn't break. How about that bump, though, John? Did you think Austin was going to bump like that? Like, God, he took one. I mean, that was the only bump he took, I think, right? That's the only bump he took.
He got the stunner.
Yeah, he took a stunner, but he didn't really. It's not like a move, right? He took one bump, but for the one bump you take to be a suplex on the floor, like he didn't take a bump in the ring. It's a suplex on the floor.
And not even outside the ring.
No, not on the
mat.
Not on the mat, not on the padding, on the concrete floor.
Just like in 1997.
Why? Why did he do this? Because it's WrestleMania?
It's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's WrestleMania. It's in his hometown, home state. Like, gotta do your best. Like he knows like there's only so much you could do, but at least he can sacrifice his body a little bit more. It's also the fact that he also gave like 2 more suplexes like on the stage. Like it still hurts him too doing that. Not as much, but still.
not as much. And you see how he took them. Sometimes guys take them and they fall back too. Owens took the bump and Austin kind of rolled. His back never actually hit the stage when he hit those suplexes on Owens. He gave them very safely for him.
For him, yes. Well,
He's got to. Yeah, he's got to protect himself. He doesn't want to, break his neck again. It's not something you want to go to. Austin has a couple more beers, throws some punches. Kevin Owens at one point gets on the ATV. Austin attacks him and starts driving the ATV with Kevin Owens on it. They drive to the top of the stage. Owens takes a couple of suplexes from Stone Cold. And Austin rolls Owens down the stage, takes a couple more beers. Owens then hits a stunner for a 2 count. By the way, I hope people bet on that prop. Remember last night when we were previewing the show? It's like who will give the first stunner in the match, and I think Austin was minus 1,000 and Owens was plus 500. I was like, there's tons of value on Owens hitting the first stunner of the match because it's not about the first, it's about the last, and Owens is going to hit one. So hopefully somebody bet on that somewhere and made some money. I don't know.
Imagine someone bet like $100,000.
You can't. I think there's a limit on that because if Vince were to bet, he could just game the system. Like wrestling bets and stuff. I think,
they have max bets.
You have a max bet of like $50 to $100 or something because if Vince McMahon were to bet like $10 million on something that he can control the outcome of, it's not really fair to the sports books, right?
That's right.
It's not right.
And then he'd have to be banned from wrestling for gambling.
Yeah,
like Pete Rose.
That's not how wrestling works. So then Owens gets a chair, goes to hit Austin, hits the top rope, chair ricochet, smacks him in the face, stunner, 1, 2, 3. Stone Cold wins after 1 stunner and 7 beers, and then another beer bash. 2 cops removed Kevin Owens from ringside for some reason. I'm not really sure why. After a second stunner on Owens after the match.
I thought
and then Byron Saxton got in the ring, and he took a stunner too. I don't know why that happened, but okay.
I thought the cops were there because, Austin famously got handcuffed away. By Vince, and I thought they were going to do that to Owens for some reason, recreate an Austin spot, but they didn't cuff him.
For being like a jerk to Texas, he got arrested? I don't know.
It's a new law in Texas.
Maybe it is.
Don't mess with Texas.
Stone Cold got his brother in the ring there for a beer bash, in case you were wondering who that guy was with Stone Cold. But it was fun, I could have done without Byron Saxton. I don't know if we needed that. But overall, really fun. Fun match. Great stuff. Great to see Stone Cold back. That should be it, though. You're not going to have a better final match than that, right? Austin should never have another match after that. He's 57 years old. He did great. It was in Texas. He won. Everybody's happy with it. That's how you end a wrestling career.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it depends what kind of wrestler you are, but Austin was sort of his style in a sense, more of a brawler in the end. So, yeah, I think that was perfect. Home state again. I don't think you're going to get a bigger crowd more than likely. So, Wrestlemania, there's no better way to end it.
Fantastic. Great main event. But was it the match of the night? What was your match of the night, Johnny North?
For me, this was a fun match. It was fun to watch and all that, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it the most in terms of wrestling wise.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the most exciting. To me, I would say it would have to be Cody and Seth.
Yep. I agree.
I'm going with Stone Cold. I think it add that extra special ingredient, and just. And Cody and Seth match was good, but I feel like they could technically had that match at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. It'd be oh man, that Cody and Seth match was really good. But that Austin Owens match, that's Mania.
Yeah, but was it the best match that you saw tonight? I agree with John. I think Cody and Seth was the match of the night.
On a move by move thing, I don't know. Even still, the suplex and everything, I think
it's one move.
Yeah. No, I'm still going with it because it was enough. A lot of the matches they were good. There's a lot of the good spots and things, but this one felt the most like a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And the extra sentimentality, and Austin brought it more than I could. And like I was saying at the end, this Austin match better than any of the Rock's comeback matches against John Cena or CM Punk or anything like that.
More fun than any of those
and
matches.
Better.
I'd agree.
He was in like better shape. Rock got so blown up and like really couldn't hit his spots that well. It felt kind of embarrassing. Sometimes the Rock would kip up and like fall back down. This didn't feel like that.
Austin was always better than The Rock.
Yeah. And tonight kind of proved it again.
Wow.
And yeah, it's my match of the night.
Wow. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but the Cody-Seth match was just such a great pro wrestling match. I really like that. That was my match of the night, John. I agree with you. I thought it was fantastic. And, just great stuff. Great stuff. Seth Rollins' entrance was weird. Who are those people on the stage singing his song? What the hell was that?
Why are they dressed like that?
What was that?
I don't know. There was a lot of interesting entrances we saw tonight. Seth probably had the worst special entrance, I think, tonight, without question.
Yeah, and the worst gear,
Cody.
his weird blue robe. What the hell was that?
I thought he was going to wear a whole suit thing like he had before he took it off. I thought he was just going to wear it the whole match. Ugh, that looks terrible.
Yeah. He looked stupid, and the entrance sucked. Cody's entrance looked very familiar, right?
Yeah, with the logo and everything.
The logo coming up in the middle of the stage. Wrestling has more than one royal family.
I'm surprised they kept that part.
Adrenaline in my soul. Something, something, Cody Rhodes. That was good.
No Arn, though. Sadly.
No Arn. Yeah, no Arn.
I got the clock.
No Brandy. Brandy was backstage, though. Brandy was there. Didn't bring out Brandy. I'd like to see Brandy as his manager at some point. But, man, what an entrance. What an entrance. And you see it in AEW, and it's great in AEW. But it was just surreal to see it in the WWE. It's like, oh, it's WrestleMania.
Too.
What?
He had the same gear even as well. It was exactly how he looked.
It felt like AEW versus WWE, didn't it? It was weird.
And AEW won, if you think about it, in a sense.
That's right.
Weird.
AEW. I loved it, though. I think this is how you have to present Cody Rhodes. I thought it was great. I thought the match was great. The thing I did not like, though, is Cody hitting the crossroads and Seth kicking out at 2. You're bringing a guy in. Yeah, it's WrestleMania, but, this is a debut. This is a return. This is a big moment. I don't like guys kicking out of finishers on the guy's first night back, you want to bring him back with an impact. The fact that Seth, the crossroads should be sold as an impactful move that will put you down. Seth kicked out. So, and that's his finisher. And to win the match, he had to hit 3 of them. So, how impactful is it? And it's like, well, Seth is strong, but is he that strong right now in WWE? So, I was a little disappointed by that. By Cody hitting the crossroads and Seth kicking out. Because to me, when you bring him in, you want to bring him in strong. And I don't know how strong he looked. The match was very good, but it was a very even match. Cody barely won, right? He eked out a victory over the very tough Seth Rollins. And Seth has not been built like Roman Reigns in the WWE, If Seth kicks out at 2 on a crossroads first night at WrestleMania, and Cody barely beats Seth, well, what chance does he have against a Brock or a Roman or
Well, it's a lot how they booked Kevin when he debuted, right? His first match against Cena, and Cena kept kicking out of his finisher 2-3 times. And how good did he look by that? And he beat Cena, then he couldn't beat Cena at all after that. So how good did that make him? But they have that mentality in this kind of match, where it's it's even pace, whatever. Just do WrestleMania style, kick out of finishers. They went with that kind of mentality for this.
Did Cody kick out of the curb stomp?
I think he kicked out of the pedigree, right?
Yeah, but not the curb stomp.
No, he didn't. I think he kept reversing out.
He never took it.
Yeah, he kept avoiding it. Yeah,
So Seth kicked out of Cody's finisher, but Cody never kicked out of Seth's.
he protected it.
Right.
Smart.
So they protect the Seth finisher, but not the Crossroads. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's just Seth being smart.
Yeah, I don't know how well that works for Cody going forward, but I thought this match was great. Seth Rollins saying, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch," was a great line that everybody heard. Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch. The reverse superplex that Seth did into the curtain call was pretty nice.
That's true. It was a curtain call. Yeah,
It was a curtain call, right? It was a Gold Dust curtain call. That was really impressive. And the finish came when Cody hit 2 Crossroads, the shake, rattle, and roll, bionic elbow, Dusty Rhodes style, and then another Crossroads for the pinfall. That's my match of the night. It's Johnny's match of the night. What's your match of the night? Let me know in the chat. My brother's going with the main event. Ray Cruz enjoyed Becky versus Bianca. I did too. I thought it was a great match, but I thought Cody and Seth had the best match of night 1. Austin was fun, though. I mean, it was a great pay-per-view. I thought Cody and Seth did great. I thought Becky and Bianca did great. I thought Charlotte and Ronda did great. I thought we had a lot of very good matches tonight at WrestleMania. Charlotte and Ronda was a fun one. Charlotte gets the win over Ronda Rousey, which is big surprise. But of course, when Charles Robinson, Little Nate, is the referee,
so perfect.
Anything can happen, brother. I love that. Charlotte comes into the ring and she wants the ref to lower the rope so she could get in. And of course, it's Little Nate. I just love that, this guy idolized her father, Ric Flair. He worked with him in WCW. He reffed a bunch of his matches. I think he probably reffed the Flair retirement match with Shawn.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to.
And just seeing him in this moment at WrestleMania with Charlotte Flair is fantastic. Like, I just loved, and Charles Robinson getting involved in the match, taking a bump. Like, this was great. This was classic. If you're a longtime Flair fan, you're buying into this. Hook, line, and sinker. Ronda hits the Piper's Pit, the big angle slam type thing, and Charles Robinson counted to 3, but then noticed that Charlotte's foot was on the rope, so he said, no, this match is not over. Later on in the match, Ronda pushed Charlotte into a spear into Charles Robinson, so Ronda kind of pushed Charlotte. Charlotte kind of went into a spear. Charles Robinson took a bump. His head hit the bottom rope. It looked kind of rough. Like, that was a tough bump for Little Nate, right? And then Ronda put Charlotte in the armbar, but the ref's down. Charlotte taps, but no ref. And then Ronda gets up, goes to check on the ref, turns around, big boot right in the face. Charles Robinson is ready now. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte is still the champion. I mean, it was great because he didn't cheat to help Charlotte, but maybe he did. You know what I mean? Maybe he did.
How quickly he recovered.
I just like that he was involved. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's down when Charlotte's tapping out. But as soon as Charlotte's out of the armbar, Charles Robinson's getting back to his feet. How suspicious. How suspicious. WWE's not treating it that way. They're just treating it like, Ronda, she lost, and sometimes the ref gets bumped, but if you know Charles Robinson, you know that he's a mega Flair fan, and he will do whatever it takes to help the Flair family. And Ronda should honestly bring that up. Like, the referee involved in the finish of the match, Ronda should be like, this guy is a ringer referee. He's here. He's like your dad's biggest fan. He loves you. He's buying your dad's robes. Like, come on, this isn't fair. I want to rematch Charlotte, but I want a different referee. I mean, that should be what she says now. Hopefully she does. Charlotte Flair, upset of the night, shocker of the night, gets the win over Ronda Rousey. No natural selection, no figure 8, a big boot to the face. Puts Ronda down for the count, which makes sense. I mean, Holly Holm's big boot to the face put Ronda down for the count, so why not Charlotte?
Tall blonde ladies.
Yeah, tall blonde ladies. If they kick Ronda in the face, she goes down. Charlotte did it. Holly Holm did it. Shocking, though. I really did not expect this one. And the screen went black at one point when Charlotte put Ronda
in the figure 8.
In the figure 8. The screen went black. I was like, what's going on here? And then they popped the video back on, and I was like, did I just see? I think I just saw a nipple. So then I rewound, and I was like, let me rewind here a second. And then I go, and I was like, oh, yeah, you pause it. Charlotte's nipple popped out, and that's why the screen went to black, because her boob was falling out of her shirt or top or whatever it's called. I didn't post a picture of it out of respect for the queen, all right? I'm not posting pictures of her nipples to you people. But that's what happened. Did you notice that, John? Did you see the nipple?
I just noticed the black screen and figured something popped out for somebody.
Charlotte's nipple.
I didn't go back to check, though, because it's like, well, I care more about the action than whatever the hell happened in the black screen.
I wanted to know what happened. I was like, why did the screen go to black? I wanted to know, like, did something pop out, or was that a technical glitch? You know, I just wanted to know what happened.
Usually, like, the screen kind of skips when there's like a technical glitch. When that happens, I find, experience-wise. Usually if there's a skip or something like that, but this just seemed like you could hear the audio perfectly. So usually there's a problem.
Yeah.
In the ring.
Well, that's what happened. Charlotte's nipple popped out during the match, but, it was all fine in the end. Got her nipple back in, won the match, and she's still the SmackDown champion. Did not see that one coming.
No.
Good match. But was it better than Bianca and Becky? I thought Bianca and Becky probably had the best women's match of the night.
It's tough to say. They were totally kind of different kind of matches. Because, like, I felt Ronda and Charlotte, they try to make it more realistic. And in both matches, like, it felt like, they went for some great moves, but also sometimes it didn't work out too well for both matches. So I'd have to watch both matches again, but they were both very good. It's tough to say.
Doug Hepburn says, dropping a super chat, he says, you guys convinced me to a 6.5. Nip slip. All right, well, nip slip gets extra points for Doug. There you go.
We know his criteria.
Wow. There you go. Why not? Everybody likes nipples. Everybody likes a nipple every now and then. You're not supposed to see it.
We've all got them.
When it pops out, it's like, oh, look at that.
I mean, we see men's nipples all night.
Yeah. Why not see a lady nipple? And really, I mean, I saw it. You saw it. It's no big deal. You saw the nipple, and, who cares? You assume that she has them because she is a human, and we all have them, right? So Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Bianca gets the win over Becky. As you predicted, Johnny North. Bianca with a big win over Becky Lynch hits the KOD to become the new Raw champion. I thought that was a really good match. Becky kicked out of a 450, amazing 450. Becky's Molly go-round attempt kind of undershot. She just kind of did a flip kick into Bianca's face.
Ouch.
Becky hit the manhandle slam on the stairs. Yeah, that was rough, eh?
That could have been really bad. Could have been a broken nose or something like that.
Yeah. The match was good, though. I thought the match was good. I like the entrances, too. Becky's big-time Bex video package, and then entering the arena in that SUV with the driver. And then Bianca Belair had the Texas Southern University marching band playing her theme to the ring. I like the entrances for that. I thought it was good. Nice, felt like a big-time match. And this was the first match that felt Wrestlemania on the card. Everything else kind of felt like normal. But when Becky and Bianca had their fancy entrances, it was like, oh, okay, we're at WrestleMania now. This is real.
It was definitely very good. And I found that maybe this should have been the main event after what happened with Charlotte, where it's like, well, that's kind of a flat kind of way to end the show. Because we didn't know that Kevin and Austin was going to be a match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to have a heel win to kind of end the night, it was like, that's kind of surprising. Why didn't you just have Bianca instead last? But now it all made sense.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, that's it. Austin winning in the end sends everybody home quite happy. But Bianca beating Becky Lynch, a bit of a surprise for me because I feel like they were going to build Becky and Ronda for next year, but Becky and Ronda both losing tonight. Okay. I don't know.
Charlotte and
went
Bianca.
the other way with it. Yeah.
Charlotte and Bianca is not a WrestleMania main event, really. I mean, it's okay, but I figured it would be Becky versus Ronda next year. Do you think they're still doing that, or maybe not?
To me, it's the match you want to make. It should have happened this year, and I still feel like you can go off that. But I also agree that maybe Charlotte and Bianca, because it's the two strongest champions right now.
Well, right now, but we're a year away from next year's WrestleMania, right? So anything could happen.
Yeah, but look at Charlotte. Like, she's been champs in SummerSlam.
Yeah. And she just beat Ronda Rousey.
Didn't Charlotte miss last year's Mania when she left off the card? Was that last year?
Yeah, last year Charlotte wasn't on the card.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Right.
And it's good though that Charlotte won, because I said it on the show a couple of weeks ago. They cut some sort of promo, right? And when Charlotte said something like, "I need to beat you," or no, Ronda said it. Ronda said it. If you beat me,
I don't care about the title.
I don't care about the title, but she also said, if you beat me, Charlotte, it'll be the biggest win of your career. And if I beat you, it's just going to be another win on my record. Like, it doesn't really matter to me to beat you.
Right.
When she said that, I said, okay, well, then Charlotte should win. Because it was true. Everybody expects Ronda to win. Ronda beating Charlotte really doesn't make Ronda a bigger star. Charlotte beating Ronda tonight makes Charlotte even bigger, grows the legend of Charlotte Flair. She beat Ronda Rousey in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. I think this was a good call from the WWE to put Charlotte over here. I think Ronda's still a star, but now Charlotte is a bigger star, which is great because she's the queen, she's the best. Best in the business. Best of all time.
Well, I think we were all expecting an upset. It's just we thought in the wrong matches. Like, I thought the Mysterios were going to do the upset, and you thought Becky would do the upset, but Charlotte got the upset instead. But we figured there'd be at least one, and it happened.
Derek John saying Bianca versus Ronda next year at Mania. I don't know about that. I think those promos would be pretty hard to sit through. The build to that would be awkward as hell. But the match could be fun, I guess. But then,
I don't know.
What about Becky and Charlotte? To me, like, it's not a real main event unless Becky and Charlotte are involved.
That's true.
Like Bianca and all these people, they're all fun and all, but Becky and Charlotte are really what the division's about. It's all cool to have these other wrestlers, but it's really about Hogan and Macho Man. And to me, Becky and Charlotte are the modern-day Hogan and Macho. Charlotte being Hogan, Becky being Macho.
Well, they've done a good job building up Bianca, though. It's 2 WrestleManias in a row she wins championships. She's off to a really good start to get to that level, at least.
Yeah. But despite the fact she beat Becky, I still don't see her at the level of a Becky or a Charlotte.
Right. I get that, but I think she's just going to have to continue. She's going to have to beat Charlotte next year at WrestleMania, I think.
Or Ronda.
Well, Ronda's going to have to rebuild now, right? Because that's a huge loss for her.
Yeah. I think she probably has a rematch with Charlotte the next pay-per-view and wins. Honestly, I think she gets a rematch quickly and does get the win. I think she gets the win back pretty soon.
Maybe on the SmackDown.
Maybe even on SmackDown, yeah. But I think they probably save it for WrestleMania Backlash. I think WrestleMania Backlash in like a month, it'll be Charlotte and Ronda will win.
Yeah, it could very well happen, but still, most people are going to remember the WrestleMania match and the fact that Charlotte won, and Charlotte's still on that level, and it's great for Ronda to get the title, but more than likely Charlotte's going to go to Raw, right? And I could see right there, Bianca and Charlotte.
Yep. Well, that'd be good stuff. I wouldn't mind. And then you move Becky over to SmackDown, and you do Becky and Ronda over on SmackDown. Makes a lot of sense.
Could happen.
Elsewhere at WrestleMania, you mentioned The Miz and Logan Paul getting the win over the Mysterios. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on Rey. And then Miz hit it on Logan Paul after the match for some reason. The crowd was kind of cheering for Miz, I guess. I'm not really sure why Miz turned on Logan Paul. They seem to be operating as a cohesive unit during the match. Logan Paul seemed like a better wrestler than Dominic and Miz. Logan Paul was big, in shape, looked good, worked well.
Moved good.
Moved really good. Like,
could
they sign Logan Paul to a full-time contract? Like, they probably can't afford him. But god damn, this kid can go. Like, he's better than The Miz. He's better than Dominic. He was more legit in that ring than half the guys on this roster. I mean, you see how big he is? He's big, man. He's bigger than Miz. And he's not, like, taller than Miz.
Well.
He's taller and more jacked than Miz. He looked great. He looked like a pro wrestler. I couldn't believe how good he looked. I thought he'd look okay, but goddamn, when he's doing the leapfrog and he's doing the splits in the air, drops down, does the splits, I'm like, holy shit, this guy is a serious athlete. I thought he was kind of a YouTube athlete, and he had a fight with Mayweather that was kind of eh. But tonight I was like really impressed with this guy and how legit he is. Logan Paul is no joke. Don't sleep on the Paul brothers. These guys are knocking people out left and right. Nice to see Jake Paul. He's my favorite. Jake Paul's my favorite. Logan's like kind of all right, but Jake Paul, he does the fights and he talks the shit. Jake Paul is the guy that knocked out Tyron Woodley, you know? People confuse them because really, who cares? But Jake is the better one. Jake is my favorite. But Logan is a hell of a worker. Maybe Logan will be the wrestler and Jake will be the fighter. Jake's talking about going to UFC and fighting guys there. I think he could do it. I think these Paul brothers can do whatever the hell they want. These guys are amazing. Logan Paul. And now I guess he'll have a one-on-one match with The Miz. I'm not sure who's going to be the babyface there. Logan Paul's the babyface for me, but I think the crowd chose The Miz tonight. I don't know what the hell happened there. The match itself wasn't great, but Logan Paul really impressed me. Looked amazing.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Like, I thought he would just be passable. They would just kind of hide him in this match. I feel like he was the one really showcased in this match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it helps being in the ring with a good wrestler like Rey Mysterio. I think that probably helped a lot too, but it really just seemed like he is a true star, and we should see him more often. We probably aren't going to see him wrestle again, I think, for a while, because they're probably only going to have him at big shows like WrestleMania, maybe SummerSlam. But I actually hope we see more of him, to be honest. Like, I'm not big on having celebrities all the time, but he's one of them where I feel like it could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see no reason why he's not the babyface, you know. Miz turned on him, and he had, like, a little devious look, you know. He was, like, kind of, like, at the end, kind of making gestures about how it's all about him and it's his show and stuff. And I don't know, that feels like a very heel kind of tactic. So I don't really know exactly where they're going with this. I mean, it's hard for me to cheer for the Miz anyway, so.
Yeah. I don't know if they're really trying to turn Miz babyface. I don't know. I think it's hard to do.
So.
Yeah,
I think
really work. Sorry, John.
I really think they thought that they were going to actually cheer for Logan Paul, and it didn't work out. I think it's just one of those things where the fans will cheer for the wrestler instead of the guest instead.
Why would the fans cheer a guy getting beat up, though? You know what I mean? If they wanted to turn Logan babyface, they'd have him attack Miz, not the other way around. Like, Miz attacking Logan and making Logan get beat up and just, you know, sit there and take the finish doesn't make you cheer for Logan Paul. It just makes you kind of be like, oh, okay. You're going to pop for whoever stands tall. When two heels fight each other, whoever gets the upper hand is the guy that you're going to be like, yeah, that guy. I like that guy better than the other guy. That guy won. You know? I don't think that they were trying to turn Logan Paul babyface. And if they were, it's a pretty terrible way to do it. You don't, like, take in a Miz finisher? Like, how does that help him?
He should have attacked the Miz.
Yeah.
Or had his brother come in, too, and had them both beat him up, you know?
That's it.
And then Miz be like, what? I thought we were friends.
And then they just punch him and stuff. And
it's like, no, we're not friends. You're not on my level.
Like,
you know?
Miz could be like, you know, he wins the match, and he pushes Logan Paul and says, I'm the star of the show, get out of my ring, and then Logan doesn't like it, and he punches Miz, and the fans pop for Logan. But instead, they pop for the Miz, which is weird. I think they're setting up a match, but I don't know how they book it. I don't know who's the babyface.
Yeah, because if they have like a confrontation promo, Miz is going to like bury Logan Paul and get a huge like pop from that. And it's just, what does that serve anyone?
I don't know how who that helps. Weird.
But I think the idea was to have the guy who's going to be on television come out strong, because at least he can keep it going in the meantime, and then Logan come back, and then somewhat have a comeback.
Yeah, but I don't see how Logan is the babyface in this, and I don't see Miz being a babyface either.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was a really weird move. I don't think you needed that, but I guess they're setting something up. Miz and Logan with the win over the Mysterios. Drew McIntyre beat Baron Corbin via pinfall after a Claymore. This is probably the worst match of the night. This is awful.
At least it wasn't long. Like, it was only a couple minutes.
It felt
8 minutes?
long.
It felt longer than it should have been. 8.5 minutes.
It felt like 15.
It felt like an eternity. I didn't like it. Drew wins, obvious, just pointless. The Usos beat Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Boogs and Nakamura came out dressed in Mike's Hard Lemonade colors, and they had a Mike's Hard Lemonade logo on their entrance. It was a commercial. They start the show with a commercial disguised as an entrance. And it kind of went downhill from there. Boogs at one point picked up one Uso on his shoulders, tried to pick up the other Uso, and buckled. Went down. And it looked like a planned spot. It seemed like, Boogs is selling his leg and this is going to lead to something. But no, he actually got hurt. And he rolled out of the ring, and doctors checked on him. They had to carry him to the back. Tore his quad. He's going to need surgery. He's like legit hurt. I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know. It seemed like a spot where you might, fake an injury. He didn't look that hurt right off the bat. I was like, maybe he's just selling. But no, Boogs is really hurt, and the match was cut short because Boogs got hurt. So they went to the finish quickly. Even though this match was cut short and they aired 1 million video packages tonight, they still cut a match from the card. New Day was supposed to wrestle Sheamus and Ridge Holland. They cut the match for time. Even though this Boogs match went short because he got hurt and they aired 1 million video packages. You feel like they could have fit in that New Day match, but I'm not mad that they didn't because I didn't need to see it, and this show was 4 hours long. So we're good.
Right.
But I could have done with less video packages and maybe another match, right?
Well, the video packages is for the people that only watch WrestleMania so that they can tell the story to everyone. They don't know what the matches are really about, so
yeah,
the video packages are very important. They put a lot of work in them too. They're fantastic. So,
but those video packages were for matches for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them were. You're right.
Well,
yeah,
they were pretty much all of them.
Those.
It was like Edge and AJ,
Bobby Lashley, Sammy and Johnny Knoxville.
They had one of just, here's how cool Sasha Banks is.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
She's not even, she's in a tag team match, like.
Why?
Right.
We love Sasha.
Why did they do a Sasha Banks only video package? What was the point of that?
There's probably something in her contract where she needs appreciation or something, I'm guessing. I'm not sure.
Acknowledge me.
And also, let's not forget the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
I mean, that was unnecessary. I didn't need to see that, but they're in Dallas.
For the home crowd, yeah.
Yeah,
might be
whatever.
a stipulation if you do a show there. You got to have
You have to do the...
Jerry Jones.
I mean, I don't know. It was unnecessary. A lot of the video packages were unnecessary. Some of the video packages for the matches tomorrow, okay, fine. But that Sasha Banks video package they played that was like 3 minutes long was weird. Because why? Why now? Are we promoting just Sasha? Oh, she has a match with a bunch of other people, but Sasha! Okay. Strange. And of course,
people
Stephanie...
need more love, I guess.
Yeah. Like Gable Steveson. Stephanie McMahon came out, thanks the fans for WrestleMania, and then introduced Olympic gold medalist and NC2A Division I national champion wrestler Gable Steveson. And Gable comes out in this weird shirt. I didn't like that shirt he was wearing. It was weird, right? It's an ugly shirt. And he just kind of waved to the crowd, and that was it. I was like, wow, this guy, I know he's a hell of an athlete, and I like him and all, but sometimes you could tell if a guy's got charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy doesn't seem very charismatic. He seemed kind of awkward in front of people. I mean, you can't tell much from a guy coming out and waving, but there was something about him, his body language, and just his facial expression that made me think, I don't know if he's got it. I hope I'm wrong. Athletically, I'm sure he does, but the character, I don't know. Jury's out. We'll see.
They could teach that.
They try to teach that. Doesn't work out all the time, John. A lot of people been in the company a long time and have no character or wrestling ability.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a lot invested into him, so
yeah,
they're gonna definitely force it down our throats.
I hope so. I hope he does well. I really do. But just him coming out tonight and waving, it just felt awkward. Didn't it feel awkward to you?
I mean, he's just not used to it. You know, it's the first time he ever did something like that, so I'm not surprised something like that would happen. They don't exactly train these guys for this.
When Kurt Angle started, though, he had a certain kind of comfort.
Yeah.
Even when he was like doing that like all-American baby face that they thought was going to be taken seriously, he had a certain kind of
natural charisma.
Yeah, and you felt it. So that when he did do that, like, why are you booing me? It felt like, oh yeah, this is his wrestling character. It never felt like, oh, this guy's learning the ropes. It's like, oh yeah, he's right in there.
He just came out, did this awkward wave in this weird shirt, and I was like, I don't know, man.
I could just cut it. I could hear his promos of just like, I fought for like college, and I fought in the Olympics, and I'm gonna fight in the WWE.
I've heard him talk, and try to be like kind of, you know, and it's like I've heard him kind of talk and try to be animated and stuff in different interviews, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I got blood, sweat,
He doesn't
tears.
have the gift of gab, you know? You got to have that natural ability to kind of be snappy, and, you know, I don't know if he's got it. AJ says, you're probably right, Dave. He doesn't have the it factor. And that's the thing. A guy's got to jump off the screen. He doesn't jump off the screen. But we'll see what he's like when he's in his singlet and he's in the ring. Maybe then it'll be a different story. But it was just a weird way to be like, hey, guys, here's Gable. I'm Stephanie McMahon. You all know me. Here's Gable Steveson. Come out and wave, Gable. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
That, too. Having Stephanie do it. Because it's just like, here's the office.
Yeah.
And here's someone you're conditioned to be like, oh, fuck you, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Here's our guy.
I thought Stephanie was going to come out there to be like, I'd like to bring out Triple H and like give him some love and talk about how much I love Paul Levesque.
Next year for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He'll go in the Hall of Fame next year, and they'll do that. Tonight was Undertaker's night to get the love from the crowd as the old guy.
Triple H was on NXT tonight.
Yeah,
but I didn't watch NXT.
Yeah, nobody watched NXT. I mean, John, I think you did. Maybe some other people did, but I had a 4-hour WrestleMania to watch tonight. I'm not going to watch more wrestling during the day.
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't know how you put yourself through that.
It's been a long day, like I said.
Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat says, Jerry Jones is my dad. Is that a reference that I don't get?
I don't know, but if he is your dad, $2.79 super chat? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, Doug, if Jerry Jones is your dad, I think you could afford
like $279,000.
Yeah, which would really help the Ringside Report Network. $279,000. I'd buy a house and call it Chateau Doug if you drop that super chat.
Yeah.
All right. Just like what's his name? That guy who's got that house, Chateau Hogan.
Hulk Hogan?
No. That guy.
The Crocodile Dundee?
No. What's that guy? You know, Hogan choked him out on his TV show.
Oh, fucking Richard Belzer.
Richard Belzer, when he got choked unconscious by Hulk Hogan on his TV show and Hogan dropped him, he sued Hogan and I think the WWF, and he made millions, and then he bought a chateau in France and called it Chateau Hogan. It's pretty goddamn fantastic.
Richard Belzer's great.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, hey. I mean, if I were Chris Rock, I would fucking sue Will Smith and buy a house in France and call it Chateau Will. Chateau Fresh Prince.
Millennium.
Harold Schneider dropping a super chat. Yes, Harold, thank you. Rest in peace, Estelle Harris, who played George's mother on Seinfeld. She died today.
And Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story movies.
And, yeah, Mrs. Potato Head. Not only Frank Costanza's wife, but also the great
Don
Rickles' wife in Toy Story. So, yeah, Estelle Harris, rest in peace. We love you. So many great lines. I walk into to see my son using his body like an amusement park. You know?
I don't have an eye for fashion. Bosomy? My son calls me up. He wants to know if his ad was bosomy.
I think you can take him, Georgie. Chinese food. Tremendous.
Oh, fantastic actress.
You know? You know, in a Festivus, you know, come over here and fight your father, and then you hear, I think you can take him, Georgie.
George, what about the Jello? I'll take it to my room.
What am I gonna do with all this paella?
Why do you have to chop up the bananas in there? George likes the bananas. You can have them on the side.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah,
she was
bought
so
it
good.
so hard.
Oh my God, Estelle Harris, rest in peace. We love her. Yeah, Kramer stopped short with her.
Yeah.
Stop short. Huh! That's my move.
He stopped short with me. He what?
Hey, what? He stopped short.
I'll kill him.
You stopped short with me. We don't do that in Korea. Oh, that was good.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, yeah. So rest in peace to Estelle Harris. Thank you, Harold Schneider, for dropping that super chat. And it puts you in the lead. You are the super chat leader of the night. And thank you for paying tribute to the late, great Estelle Harris, who passed away tonight. We found out the news during WrestleMania, and she was amazing as George's mom. Just great.
Iconic.
George's parents, really.
Yeah.
Everybody on Seinfeld is iconic at this point. But George's parents, I mean...
Did you know Jerry Stiller, like Frank Costanza, is only in like 13, 15 episodes, and it only came in like season 5?
Yeah. Well, George's father at first was a different guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jerry Stiller at first. Frank Costanza was played by a different man.
I read a thing. Apparently, the part was written to be kind of this like diminutive, yes dear kind of figure because Estelle was such a loud personality. But apparently, Jerry Stiller in the auditions was the only one who argued with her in like improv or something. So like Larry David was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine seeing Jerry Stiller and Estelle Harris going back and forth and not wanting them on your show, right?
Oh
I mean,
God.
goddamn. Such talents. Jerry Stiller's still alive, too, right?
No, he passed away last year.
He died, too?
He passed away last year.
Damn. Uncle Leo, Frank Costanza,
Morty
now Estelle.
Seinfeld.
Morty. Is Helen still alive?
Helen
dead
is still
too.
alive.
Helen's still alive. Helen Seinfeld.
is still alive.
All right. Well, we love you.
Jack Klompus passed away. Mr. Pitt passed away.
Jack Klompus was kind of a dick.
Mr. Pitt was cool.
Mr. Pitt was cool. We all love Mr. Pitt.
Mr.
Peterman's still alive.
Peterman, the guy at the Yankees, Mr. Wilhelm passed away.
Oh, Wilhelm. How about Mr. Morgan?
I don't know. Probably not, because if he did die, they would say like Seinfeld's Mr. Morgan has passed away.
That's right.
What about Newman?
Newman's still alive.
Newman's still alive.
Wayne Knight's still going.
Come on, we would know.
He's lost some weight.
We would know. We would know. Newman is still alive.
Never
Uncle
hear
Phil
his
is
name.
dead.
Yeah, he
AJ's
died-
asking about Uncle Phil.
He
Uncle
died
Phil
like
died.
New Year's Day, like 2000. He was in 2016. He was like the first big celebrity to die in 2016.
James Avery. Little known fact, he was the voice of Shredder in the Ninja Turtles cartoons. Uncle Phil. He played Shredder.
If you listen,
Right.
it sounds totally like it. If you hear him say, "Tonight I dine on turtle soup," you could hear him go like, "Will,
Sounds like Uncle Phil.
break out Lucille."
All right, guys. So that's a WrestleMania post show. I think we did it. I think we covered everything at WrestleMania. Johnny and I giving match of the night to Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. My brother over here giving match of the night to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kevin Owens. I'm giving this show an 8.5 on 10. My brother giving it an 8. Johnny giving it a 9. Top marks from the Ringside Report crew. Night 1 of WrestleMania in the books. And we will be back here tomorrow night after WrestleMania Night 2 for one more night of WrestleMania. And you know what? We'll be back here Monday night as well for the Raw After Mania. So, very busy weekend. We are not done. We are just getting started. We will be back here tomorrow night for WrestleMania Night 2, where we may have the New Day against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. It's possibly been moved to tomorrow night. We will have Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha and Naomi versus Rhea and Liv versus Natty and Shayna in a 4-way for the women's tag titles. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, anything goes. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Triple threat Raw Tag Team title match. Edge versus AJ Styles. Bobby Lashley versus Omos. And the biggest match in the history of WrestleMania, stupendous Brock Lesnar versus stupendous Roman Reigns for the winner-take-all WWE title, Universal title main event match. All that going down on Night 2 WrestleMania, and we will be back here tomorrow night after the show to recap it all for you. Thank you to all the members checking in tonight. Do appreciate everybody signing up to the Ringside Report membership program. Doug Hepburn, Harold Schneider, Anthony Plessia, Ray Cruz, And everybody else, Derek John, of course, my buddy Derek. Everybody supporting the Ringside Report Network tonight. Patrick C. Hamilton. Thank you to everybody dropping super chats as well. Patrick, Silent by Deadly, Harold Schneider, Doug Hepburn. Everybody supporting the Ringside Report Network tonight. And even if you're not, and you're just watching, thank you. And hit that like button and leave a comment. Leave a comment under this video. It helps the algorithm. People will see it more if you leave a comment under the video. Just say, Wrestlemania, pal, or good show, or
Ben sucks.
Ben sucks. Johnny sucks. Dave rules. You know, one of those. Don't say, if you say Dave sucks, I'll be very unhappy with you, though, okay? And I will rip you a new one the next time I'm on. So don't say that, because it's not nice.
But say Ben sucks.
Don't say Ben sucks. I like him. Don't say Johnny sucks either. I like Johnny. Don't say we suck. If you say we suck, I'll be sad, you know? Don't make me sad. You want me to be sad? You don't want me to be sad. I said you don't want me to be sad, son. You don't want him to be sad. Stone Cold Steve Austin's.
I'm surprised not as big as the Bread and Taker one.
What do you mean? Well, these are smaller ones. Here's a Taker one. It's the Undertaker. Wait a second. I'm the Undertaker.
Oh, fake Taker.
Oh, my God. Which one of you is the fake Taker? I think we're both the Undertaker, but I seem to be much larger than you.
I'll see you in Wrestler's Court.
Hey, Johnny, I've got one last thing to say to you. Never say never. Taker's gonna wrestle again, John. I fucking told you. This guy can't give it up. Never say never. Couldn't believe it.
Who's he gonna wrestle?
You know he meant it. You think he said it just to say it? Come on, man. You think he said it just to say, oh, never say never, and then he'll never wrestle again? Bullshit. He's 100% going to wrestle next year at Mania. Book it.
Guess who?
Who cares? Stone Cold.
The thing is, like, this is the time to wrestle. Like, it's in his home state, Texas. Like, it's going to be the biggest crowd it's going to be for him. Like, why is it not now?
Never say never. I don't know. Because he did his retirement Hall of Fame in Texas. So he'll do his retirement match in Hollywood against Hollywood Hogan, brother.
Didn't mention him in the speech.
Didn't thank him in the speech. Won his first title off him. Didn't thank Hulkster. Didn't thank Mick Foley. Yeah.
Or Teddy Long, player.
Or Teddy Long. No Foley?
No CM Punk, too, by the way, in that whole speech. Vince didn't mention, like, all the opponents.
Yeah.
Well, are you surprised?
That one I'm not surprised.
Mentioned Jeff Hardy.
Did he?
Yeah, he did say Jeff Hardy. And Vince said Mankind.
Did Vince say Jeff Hardy?
Vince said Jeff Hardy, and he also said Mankind.
Huh. I think Vince is, like, unaware that Jeff doesn't work for him anymore.
It's like, what?
He knows CM Punk doesn't work for him. He hates that guy. But Jeff, he's like, whatever.
He'll be back.
I don't think he hates Jeff Hardy like he hates CM Punk, you know? Like, they don't like CM Punk over there. It's not that he doesn't work for them. It's that they don't like him. They wouldn't offer CM Punk a deal like they would to Cody. They're, like, mad at Punk. They're good with everybody else.
It's interesting. I mean, he did do a show with him, technically, right? That Fox show that they were doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that work out?
Well, the pandemic kind of killed that, though.
Yeah, but WWE didn't hire him. Fox hired him.
That's true. He made that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did make that point. It's true.
WWE did not hire him.
They were okay with it happening.
Yeah. I don't know. They don't seem too happy about CM Punk. They don't mention him anymore, you know? I don't see them inducting him into the Hall of Fame anytime soon.
Given the recent things he said about them, it's not surprising. I mean, he's kind of taking a lot of shots at them recently.
I feel like Cody Rhodes has taken the past 6 years to take shots at the WWE, yet they welcome him back with open arms.
I guess they saw that as just like, well, it's just, being competition. I think with Punk, they actually take it personally, I guess.
Oh, yeah, starting an opposing wrestling fed. I don't take that personally. It's just friendly competition.
Just business. Yeah.
It's just business, sure. I don't know about that. It's kind of weird. But hey, good to see Cody back. I thought he had a great match. I can't wait to see what he does next. And I wonder if he's going to be at his niece's wedding tomorrow. Dakota is getting married. Little Dakota. Terry Runnels or Terry whatever. Marlena and Goldust's daughter, Dakota, who was like a little girl in the 90s. She was like part of the story at one point. She's getting married tomorrow.
Right.
So congratulations.
Oh, great. Congrats.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Rhodes family. Big weekend for the Rhodes family, and I'm happy to see it. Big weekend for professional wrestling, and we will see you here tomorrow night for WrestleMania Night 2 on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.